weekly program about important issues and events in the two Virginias.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of In Focus. I'm your host, Melinda Zosh. This morning, we are featuring a nonprofit in Tazewell County called Blackberry Winter. In fact, we are going to start the show with a feature story on Blackberry Winter done by our Taylor Hankins this past November.
The Blackberry Winter is an Appalachian saying that refers to a cold period in May. My mama always called it a cold snap.
Blackberry Winter is also a nonprofit in Cedar Bluff, helping people rebuild after a cold snap in their lives. They have furnished more than 400 homes since 2018.
We step in two instances, when people have lost everything and we furnish their home to the best of our ability, and also children without beds. That is my passion. It wasn't when I began this. I didn't realize that children in our community were sleeping in the floor and without beds, and children can't learn, grow, feel loved, feel important, sleeping on the floor.
All their work has been exclusively out of these storage units. Blackberry Winter has several partners, including Communities in School Appalachian Highlands, whose focus is on helping children.
Kids who didn't have bedroom furniture and get a bed for the first time. It's almost like Christmas when we take them furniture from Blackberry Winter.
The work here reaches beyond the borders of their base in Tazewell. The good news of the good works here draws people in need from neighboring counties.
So for the first time ever, I feel worried that the intake doesn't meet how much needs to go out. So that does cause me a lot of worry. My hope is that each community will start their own Blackberry Winter. It's very easy to do, and every community deserves and needs a Blackberry Winter.
Crawford Brown adds, another way to help is to join in on the nonprofit's Giving Tuesday campaign on Facebook. That social media platform pledges to match donations, and they'll give an extra $100 every time someone signs up for monthly donation. Here for you in Cedar Bluff, Taylor Hankins, WVVA News.
Thank you, Taylor. And as you just heard, the group helps community members rebuild after a cold snap in their own lives. And the organization has helped furnish 482 homes. They've given out 700 beds since 2018. And as you heard Taylor say, the nonprofit works exclusively out of storage units. Now, I'd like to introduce our viewers to Teri Crawford Brown, Blackberry Winter's founder and a motivational speaker. Also joining us this morning is Jorge Ray. He created a documentary about the nonprofit. I want to thank both of you for being here today.
Thank you, Melinda, for having us. It's an honor to be here.
It's great to have you here, Teri, and you too, Ray. So, Teri, I'll start with you. The website says Blackberry Winter is what Appalachians call a cold snap in late spring when the blackberries are blooming, and that you provide a non-judgmental, kind-hearted hand to those going through a cold snap in their lives. So, Teri, explain what this means to you, and how exactly did Blackberry Winter get started?
So when I hear you read those words, there's two things that really stand out to me. One is based in the knowledge that Southern Appalachia is one of the last places and last groups of people that in the United States it is considered socially acceptable behavior to mock our language, to say degrading things about our culture, and to continue to proliferate untrue stereotypes about us. So the phrase Blackberry Winter to me is just a very eloquent and beautiful example of our language and what our culture is.
Yes.
The second thing that I hear when you say that is the no judgment in needing help.
Yes.
And as my dad always says, no guilt required. And I think of all the help I have been given in my life that was given to me out of love and freely by family, friends, even strangers, teachers. And I think about, we all have needed help to get where we are. And if all the people in my life had made me feel guilty for needing help, then that help became tainted. So who are we to judge another person's need for help because it looks different than our own?
Right.
So when I hear you read from the website those words, those things are of paramount importance to me.
Right, and it could be stigmatized for people to even ask for help, but it's okay to ask.
Correct, right. We all need help.
Exactly. And Ray, in a minute, we'll talk about the documentary, but also, Teri, as we mentioned earlier, Blackberry Winter has furnished 482 homes and provided 700 beds. So how does the process work to get the furniture and then for families also to reach out and get exactly what they need?
So Blackberry Winter is comprised of all volunteers, and the way that we get the furniture is we don't have a way to pick it up when people donate it. So we take gently used, good condition, clean furniture that people have that they don't know what to do with, and we have 12 storage units, and so they can go to the website, send an email, tell me what they have, and I will message back with the location and how to access the storage unit to bring it there. Now, for people to receive help, you can't ask for help for yourself. What I have found is that people in crisis, they need someone to help us help them. So we need someone to go onto our website, they submit a form that validates the need, tells us what is needed. That person has to be the person that communicates with me, that arranges to meet, and they have to bring the amount of vehicles and people needed to load the furniture and take it to the family in crisis. Now, the family in crisis is also invited to be there. And we can only meet one time. We are furnishing 2 to 5 homes a week. So time keeps us from meeting more often than that. So that is all that is required to get help from Blackberry Winter.
And Teri, you work out of storage units. Are those in Cedar Bluff then?
They are, correct.
And what counties and areas do you serve?
Well, I real bad want to not ever say no to anyone based on a location, because the need is a need. For the first time since I started Blackberry Winter in December, I had to turn down 5 families' requests for help because we didn't have the furniture to get. And what has happened is Tazewell County, specifically Richlands area, is furnishing for all the outlying towns and even other counties. And I truly believe in my heart that in each location, your excess will exactly meet your need. It's the yin and yang of things, the way things balance, and every community needs a Blackberry Winter. There's people who deserve the help and don't deserve to be sleeping on the floor, and there are people who have the excess that don't know how to give it.
Right, and that's exactly what someone at home might be watching right now, is thinking, you know what, I have a great, couch or bed that's just gently used. Like, if someone at home has something or they want to get involved and help, what's the process to do that?
Well, it's through the website. They just submit a form, tell me what they have to donate. I send back an email which building it goes in, location, how to access the building, and they can bring it, whenever is convenient for them.
All right. Well, we do have to take a quick break, but we'll talk to Ray more about his documentary. And also, Teri was featured as a hometown hero back in 2019. We can't wait. We pulled that story out of the archives that our Joshua Bolden did, so we'll have that after the break as well. We'll be right back.
You may think it's only storage, but if you look a little closer, sits a woman's mission to help those who need a hand up.
It started because I had went to our local Miller's auction one Saturday night, and they had sold a lot of furniture there. And it had went, really nice furniture had went for very reasonable prices. And when I came back to work on Monday, our security guard, who I'd worked with for years, his home had burnt. And I thought, if I had known Saturday, I could have about furnished you a home. And I just started thinking, like, we come upon these opportunities, but then we don't have it when the person needs it.
It just so happens on the day we met up with Teri Crawford Brown, she was helping someone in need. Mary Ann contacted Teri after she learned that one of her newest tenants lost everything in a house fire.
And it was immediate that she responded, we'll help with anything she needs. We just have to know the specifics.
As you can see, the full-time registered nurse is true to her word. And while she spearheads this effort, she is quick to note that there is a community of people behind her.
And at first I was buying furniture. I haven't bought any furniture in probably a year. It's all now donated to me.
Blackberry Winter now has at least 400 members. And these days you could look at her role as a coordinator. Just listen to some of the items Teri's co-workers have donated.
One of the nurses buys me lamps for all the families. One of them buys me crock pots, or two of them buys me crock pots. A lady I don't know, I went to school with her daughter, buys me cookware for every family.
Once all those items are loaded onto the truck,
I have to have a go-to person to help me. Like the lady we just helped, I need someone that will show up and move the furniture.
15 months later, and Teri has helped furnish 45 homes. And she hopes the recipients know one thing.
And I like to say no guilt required. You know, I don't want them to feel bad for needing the help. We all need help sometimes.
What do you hope your legacy is?
That I loved them.
And it is that love for others that makes Teri Crawford Brown a hometown hero.
Welcome back to this edition of In Focus. You just watched Joshua Bolden's Hometown Hero segment on Teri Crawford Brown, who joins us again this morning, and that was filed back in 2019. So also joining us, Jorge Ray, who created a documentary. We'll share a bit of that with you shortly and talk to Ray more about that. But Teri, you made a comment in Hometown Hero about your lasting legacy. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that and what you meant?
Well, I had never given a lot of thought about my legacy until he asked me that question that day. And what I realized is, and Ray asked me in the documentary what was my superpower, and at the time I had said it was stubbornness, which does help, but it isn't my superpower. I think my superpower is the ability to correctly assign the amount of energy towards the negative that's happened in my life and the negative people, and as opposed to the positives, and the positives outweigh the negatives 1,000 to 1. That if I count all the interactions and people and things that I've had in one day, 1 week, 1 month, I could count on one hand the negatives, but you couldn't number the positive interactions or even neutral ones. So I think my superpower and my legacy is that my ability to see the good in people and to love them where they are.
Oh, that's powerful. And Ray, what a great question to ask someone what their superpower is too. I love that. So now let's talk about the Blackberry Winter documentary. So it's about 30 minutes long, and you can go to Blackberry Winter's YouTube page to watch it. We'll share a segment with you here in just a moment. But Ray, what message do you hope that people take away after they watch the documentary?
That's a great question, Melinda. So the documentary was created because I want to bring good stories of positive things to the world. You know, when my wife and I first moved here not long ago to Southwest Virginia, I was on a quest to find stories of community, love, and redemption. And it's not always easy to find those stories in the public eye. So I wanted to find those stories and bring them to the public because it's so easy for people to constantly be bombarded by negativity and the constant doom scrolling and 24/7 news cycle of negative news. And it's easy for Americans to believe that things are bad all around them. So I wanted to find those good stories about positive things happening in America and show America that there is good in this world and there are good people doing good things, and they may be closer than you know.
Right, exactly. And just like Teri and what she's doing, and Teri, you hope that Blackberry Winter maybe has a ripple effect and starts in other communities.
Yes.
And Ray, how did you end up connecting with Teri and finding out about her story and what she's doing?
Well, after my wife and I first moved to the area, I was hunting for a charity or nonprofit whose story needed to be amplified. You know, some of the larger charities like United Way, Salvation Army, Red Cross, they have multi-million-dollar production teams to help get their stories out into the public. So not surprising they get good donations and awareness. But I wanted to bring my filmmaking skill and gear and talent to level that playing field a little bit to find smaller scale, local, positive charities that are doing good and help amplify their message a little bit. So when we first moved here, I was just hunting around for the right entity, and
Here she was, Teri
Yes.
was.
Teri was prolific on social media. She was not hard to find. So it was her post on Instagram that caught my attention. And that ultimately led me to get in touch with her. I suggested the project to her, and she said yes. And ever since then, she's been such a strong and positive supporter of this project.
And then, Ray, after you found Teri and you got in touch with her, what was the process like the filming process? How long did that take, and the other interviewees in the segment too, and the whole process?
Sure. Well, not surprising, Teri is somewhat of a local celebrity, so there were many people who were willing to help out. So when we kicked off the project, Teri helped me line up people who may be interested in participating in the documentary. We were able to line up a number of notable figures in the area, such as Senator Travis Hackworth, Mayor Rod Curry, Chairman Shayna Plaster from the county board, but we have many other people who were willing to go on camera to talk about their experience and their admiration of the Blackberry Winter project. So I have to give credit to Teri on being able to line up so many people who are willing to cooperate with the project. But the process itself took about 10 months. We acquired over 40 hours of footage, which took a lot of editing energy to get it down to a 30-minute product. But what I found, though, was so much more positive and better than I could have expected. And Melinda, you probably know this. Have you ever set out on a quest or a journey to find something, but instead you uncover something so much more positive and unexpected and brilliant?
A story within a story.
Precisely, and that's what happened here. I was expecting to find a concise and compact story which would not be difficult to capture, and then I would move on to someone else who needed my assistance. But what I instead detected was a jewel of this whole understory of a community of people who I did not expect this dynamic to be so prominent, to learn more about the story of people that need to contribute, need to express their love and express their help to others. And Teri is sort of the center of gravity for that, for Blackberry Winter, in that she channels that energy and to bring people together that have that willingness to help others. And that, I believe, is a big part of the documentary, showing how people need to be a part of something bigger like this.
Right, something bigger than themselves. And Teri, what I really like and admire about you is your positive energy. You really do. You have so much positive energy. It radiates, and such a passion for helping people. And it's so obvious about you.
Thank you. I don't choose it. It just is there. So, I want to say that working with Ray, first, Ray came to me with this idea, and he donated all of his time and his energy and his effort into this. And Blackberry Winter's success quickly put me into roles and arenas that I was not comfortable in. I'm a mom and a nurse, and I never had the intention of creating a nonprofit or having a documentary or be sitting here talking to you. So, but Ray's the real deal. He brings in just professionalism, and he has a calming effect, and just is so ethical and honorable, and everything he says, he does, and the finished product just really shows that. But the part you don't see on the backside of that is during the filming of the documentary was, for me, one of the hardest times of my life, personally. And I was a mess a lot of the times, all over the place. And Ray would just help me so much to refocus, see the big picture, he saw good in me when I wasn't able to see it in myself.
Ooh, that's what you call having an angel on earth, though, really. Right?
Well, I think that's what's called when you need help, it shows up.
There you go. There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we have to take one more quick break, but then we will watch some of the documentary right after this. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
I'm Debbie Artrip. I work at Clinch Valley Medical Center, and I help with Blackberry Winter by volunteer of my time and donations. We are at Cedar Bluff. We're in the storage building beside of the Cedar Bluff Elementary School. People donate the buildings for us to be able to store the stuff in to make it easy for people who need things to come and get them. We need these storage buildings to put all of our supplies, like the cooking supplies, our bedding supplies, mattresses, furniture that's donated. They're individualized so that we know what's in each one. Everything's not together, they're kind of separated. There's how many? There's hundreds of, at least 100, more than 100 probably, that volunteers their time to organize, and there's at least 10 on a day that you need to load the trucks, and you know, they ask the people who are getting the stuff to come here to pick it up, but in turn the people that volunteer have to have it all organized and all the stuff ready for them to get when they get here.
We have furnished 397 homes, give over 500 kids beds, and I feel confident that each one of those family members and each one of those children's lives were made easier and improved by Blackberry Winter. But we give them the help, and then we're moved on to the next family. So what I can say for sure is, for the volunteers, Blackberry Winter has proven to all of us that our communities aren't as divided as we are told that we are. That when people in our community need help, we meet the need. Blackberry Winter proves to me that people are good. Whenever I feel like the need is so big and how are we going to meet it and what are we going to do, it's always met. Like, people give until it makes me uncomfortable. And it's renewed my belief in humans, and that we do want to help one another.
And you just heard a portion of the documentary there. Oh, so powerful. And Ray, you've actually won some awards for this documentary too, from what I understand.
Yes, ma'am. The purpose of the documentary is to get the word out about Blackberry Winter, and one of the formats to do that is to submit the film into film festivals. So the film is more available to a wider audience. Recently it was awarded Best Documentary by the Christian Online Film Festival. We've submitted to other regional film festivals in the hopes that we reach even more audience members, so stay tuned for more news on that soon.
Absolutely, and then people can go online on YouTube, go to Blackberry Winter, and they can find the full documentary there for free to watch.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And Teri, how can people get involved with Blackberry Winter to help out?
So I have a firm belief that most people do want to help others. They just do not take action on that desire. And like, I wouldn't have thought Blackberry Winter needed someone to make a documentary on it, but it did. So you have your time and talents and abilities that you could bring to the table to help us in ways maybe I don't even know. I mean, I need help with organization, I need help with administrative, I need physical labor. I mean, the more help we have, the more people we help. Yes. So if you're interested or you have a set of talents you could bring to the table, you go to the website and just submit a volunteer form.
And Teri, help is the right word because you have a full-time job as a traveling nurse, so how do you manage that and then Blackberry Winter too?
Well, it's not as hard as what I think everyone thinks it is. It takes very little time and effort when your true intention is to no benefit to yourself, when your intention is to help others. Yes. So I do, when I am committed in doing Blackberry Winter, I only do Blackberry Winter. And when I'm a mom, I'm just a mom. And when I'm a nurse, I am filling the role as a nurse. And I practice daily self-care, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And one of the big ways is give up on feeling guilt for the people I can't help.
Right.
Like if I get wore out and feel guilty or get too tired or overextended, I'll stop doing this. And then the next 480 homes don't get furnished.
Right, and self-care is key.
Yes, putting limits on I'm one person and what I can do, and do each role I do well.
We have just a couple minutes left in the show, and I wish we had so much more time to talk to both of you, really. Ray, what are some concluding thoughts that you have for our viewers who are watching right now?
Well, the concluding thought is that Teri is such a unique and special person, and she has put herself out there with such courage and transparency that I urge everyone to watch the documentary and to understand how special a story we really have right here in Southwest Virginia.
Yes, and Teri, you truly have a heart to serve people.
Yes.
And what are some concluding thoughts that you have for viewers who are watching this morning?
Well, I would love for people to go watch the documentary. It really portrays Southern Appalachia as what we are, which is a beautiful, naturally beautiful area, and in an area that neighbors take care of neighbors. And the problems in Appalachia are the problems that are universal. Everyone has illness, addiction, fire. You know, these are the problems Blackberry Winter helps, but it's not because these are just in Appalachia. And I love that it portrays the true spirit of the Appalachian people.
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful way to conclude this show. And before we go, I'd like to bring up that full screen information that has all the contact information for Blackberry Winter. So there's their website, Facebook. You can connect with them also on Instagram. There's the YouTube information and the email. So you can email Teri directly if you'd like to get in contact. And if you find it in your heart this morning that you'd like to volunteer, or maybe you know someone who can help. Connections are a great way to get involved with Blackberry Winter as well. But I want to thank Teri and Ray for just taking the time out of their schedules and coming in and sharing important information for us about Blackberry Winter and just having the hearts to serve others. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Melinda.
My pleasure.
And that does it for this edition of In Focus. We'll see you all again next Sunday.